Cayden was at this day school in LA. I remember 3 months into that school, I was like, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to survive 4 years of high school. They would have a quiz or quizzes like every other day. It's all about grades. Because if you don't deal with the grade, if you don't take care of that, then you're a failure. And it doesn't matter whether you learned or not, you just have to have good grades because that's the only way you're judged. There was one time he came back, I said, oh, how did the quiz go today? And he said, oh, that's fine. I got 100%. I said, oh, wow, that's great. So you're really learning Latin? He said, no, what I did is, like the night before, I just memorized everything. And the next day I go to class and I just regurgitate everything and then spill everything onto the paper and then we're done. I was like, wow. I was thinking there's no way I can last another almost 4 years.
And I think the nature of testing in most schools is simply one of X data was given to you. How much of X data can you give back? And here's your percentage. And I think that's not the right way to do things. In the school I attended before Delphian, there was a purpose for our education, and there was a purpose for the way that classes were delivered and how the school was structured. But the purpose was really just to get students into good schools, good universities, get them high standardized test scores, the standard things that you'll see from any of those prep schools. And when you look at it that way, it's very true that the purpose is not about the students themselves. It's not an emphasis on their individual success, but it's an emphasis on the institutional success with the students as a vehicle for that success. And you can only imagine that if the student is not the most valuable part of a school, how is the school going to create students who see themselves and can be responsible for themselves and ultimately lead themselves to do great things?
Any kid, any student, they have to have a purpose to get their education. Otherwise, if they don't have a purpose for education, then they will have no reason to be in school. They'll be in school to just go through the motion and then not really producing anything. Because when you have a purpose for your education, for your school, for anything, that's when you own it. That's when you are driven. That's when you work hard and it's your own game. One of the best things that Delphi program does for a student is it really puts the student in the driver's seat of their own future. What do you want to achieve? What do you want to be? I think that's absolutely crucial.
In society, too often you see students being educated for a purpose other than their own. Whether it's, oh, my parents want this, or the society is saying that I must go to college or something like that. I think it's super fundamental that students have their own purpose for getting educated. The fact is that if a student has their own purpose for something, it's no longer about others, but it's about themselves and what they can do. And when you shift that viewpoint, and when you make it such that the person is now responsible for themselves, there is infinitely more reward to be had because you get to reap every single benefit of your education.